On today's episode, we rank the young core of Washington Wizards players. Who's number one? Maybe it's someone that you didn't necessarily expect. Find out here on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, this is Locked On Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day here, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Alongside DC Sports content creating savant and credentialed media member for the Washington Wizards, that's Abdullah Ayubi. I'm Ben Strober. I cover all things DC Sports for 106.7 The Fan and the Team 980 right here in our District of Columbia. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Now, when it comes down to ranking these young Wizards players, it gets tough because now you add a couple of guys into the mix that really are not as proven so far because you haven't been able to see what they can obviously do throughout a full season. You have a guy like Bilal who's now entering year number 3, so he'd obviously be very high up in the totem pole, but is he number one on the list? Additionally, Cam Whitmore comes over in the trade from a couple weeks ago from Houston, and he instantly rises high up in the ranks for me because of what he's been able to do so far through the first 2 years of his career. We're going to get into that here, talk a little bit about Keyshawn George and how he performed in the Summer League and how we could see him breaking out here in year number 2. And then finally, in the last segment, we'll touch on Damian Lillard returning to the Portland Trail Blazers. Don't even think about it, Dawkins. And I know a lot of you know exactly what I'm alluding to, but you'll find out more about that in segment number 3. Abdullah, to start things off here, who would you go as number 9? So we're ranking this on a 9-player basis right here. The 9 players, I'll read off the list for you right here. Go Keyshawn George, Bilal Coulibaly, Cam Whitmore, Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, Trey Johnson, AJ Johnson, Tristan Vucevic, and then Will Riley. Who are you putting at the number 9 spot right now?
So, unfortunately, honorable mention to Jameer Watkins couldn't make the list, but I think he'll definitely make an impact come his rookie year.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, I think that with this list, I asked you if we're doing it off potential, but we're doing it as of right now where they rank. So, it would be 2 different scenarios, but right now we're talking about where they are as they stand right now. And at number 9, I have Will Riley. I think a guy who a wing can create his own shot, 6'7", 6'8", a babyface assassin. I think he can definitely find his rotate where he can fit in this rotation this upcoming year. I like what he did in the second Summer League game. The first one he struggled a little bit, but that second one he really stepped up. And I think if he can be a key contributor off this bench come his rookie year, it's going to be a really essential year for him because he was a guy that was a second first-round pick. And they traded from pick 18 to 21, and originally it was Walter Clayton. And a lot of people were upset about that pick, saying, why don't we keep Walter Clayton? He balled out in March Madness. But Will Dawkins sees something Will Riley that a lot of people don't. So I have Will Riley at 9.
I also have Will Riley at number 9, and that's just because we just haven't seen a lot of him. And he's a guy that didn't even necessarily get a ton of experience in his 1 year at Illinois. He was a guy that was coming off the bench and saw his role increase as the season went on because Brandon Underwood said that he's a guy that doesn't really care about who he starts, but he'll give his minutes to the most deserving players. And he's a guy that was shooting thousands of shots after every single game through the first 2 Summer League games that he got to play. And unfortunately, we didn't see him play the other ones. Showed some real potential. I think the first game was a little bit more passive. Second game, he looked very comfortable to me and just smooth as a scorer. And he could easily fly up this list for me. But as of right now, it's, we're doing this list based on what we know about this player right now, Will Riley. So he goes number 9, not to say anything against him.
It's kind of interesting, Ben, because he was the guy that didn't play in that 3rd or 4th game. So Will Dawkins in this Summer League coaching staff says, hey, we've seen enough. We want him to get ready for the regular season, which is interesting.
Cool. All right, number 8, I'll just jump into it. I'm going to put AJ Johnson right here. And we talked about his flash, his potential in the last episode we did throughout the Summer League. And I know he's a guy that didn't necessarily get a fair rap from us, I think, in the last game because he is out there with a lot of guys that would not be making the roster. But certain things we do need to see him improve on, his ability, his vision, playmaking. But the offensive upside certainly is there for AJ Johnson. He's second to last on this list, but that's not a bad thing whatsoever about AJ Johnson. I still think he's a player with tremendous upside offensively.
Yep, great minds think alike. Strike again. I have AJ Johnson at 8. Very, 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 very with the capital V athletic. I mean, that quick first step we're always talking about. Efficiency is something that I want to see him work on. You can't be having 20 points with 20 shot attempts. I want to see him get better. I want to see his handle get even more tight, because if his ability to go to the cup with his speed and can tight up his handles, he can be really, really effective. Jump shot, needs to be able to shoot it from 3 better. But last season we saw towards the end of the season, he showed up in clutch moments, and that's what I wanted to see, those reps. Now you got summer league reps, and I can't wait to see how he carves up his role here in Washington. I think the fact you got him for Kyle Kuzma, to me, is still a steal. Such a young guy who genuinely, I want to see him in the dunk contest, because man, he has some bunnies. And I don't know about 6-man role, but he can definitely be an effective scorer, can score in bunches off the bench. And I'm excited to see how he does this upcoming year.
Absolutely. I think his offensive ability, what we've seen, how he is a tenacious scorer at attacking the basket toward the rim. Is he better served as a shooting guard? Maybe. But I guess it remains to be a work in progress to see how he develops as a point guard. And the same thing can be said about Bub Carrington, who we'll touch on in this list as well. Number 7, I'm going Tristan Vucevic, and I think it's because we haven't seen enough of him. And he could be higher on this list because offensively, he's pretty polished. When he has gotten his minutes, which have been pretty few and far between so far throughout his first 2 years in the association, but the Wizards do bring him back on the 2-way contract. He is very, very solid when it comes to scoring the basketball. And I'm going to put him at number 7 right now just because we haven't seen enough. He's going to have a much larger role this year. And it'd be nice to see him and Alex Sarr play alongside one another. I think one of the things that he can do well also is rebound the basketball. Defensively is an area where he, has been cited from the coaching staff as an area where they'd like to see him improve. And I think having more minutes on the floor is going to be beneficial for him to that. He's going to get used to the rotations, finding himself in a good spot to be another solid rim protector for this team.
Yep, 3 for 3. I have Tristan Vucevic at 7. I think when given the opportunities last year, he shined. And I always mentioned the fact that a second-round pick being productive here in Washington, just last guy was Thomas Satoransky. And if you're a real Wizards fan, you know who that is. So I want to see a front court of him and Alex Sarr. 7-footer who can shoot the mid-range shot, shooter from 3. Defensively needs to get better, needs to use his frame more. But I think with another offseason under his belt, and you bring him back as well, I really want to see how he does under this regime with Trey Johnson. You just drafted Trey Johnson, Will Riley, Bub Carrington year 2, Alex Sarr year 2. I think they can complement each other really well. So Tristan Vucevic, very, very underrated. And I think with the minutes given, he can go out there and produce. And that's why I have him at 7.
Number 6 for me, it's the pick number 6 of the draft in Trey Johnson. So Johnson, through 2 summer league games played, like we said, unfortunately didn't get to see him play in the other 2 games. He was out with a hamstring, a little tweak that he got, I guess, in game number 2. 18 points in the first game, 21 in the second game. Nothing really negative we can say about Trey Johnson and what we saw in his first 2 appearances on an NBA-style floor. It is the summer league, so much different scenario. You're not going up against the upper echelon of defenders in the NBA quite yet. But he looked so polished, so fluid, and so confident with the basketball in his hands. He consistently found himself getting to his spot to get a good shot opportunity. And also, I thought he looked effective as a playmaker as well. He's a guy that when he had the basketball in his hands, when he would get to his spot, he would find himself making the right pass. A couple of times I saw him pass up on the easier pass, whether it was swinging the ball to Bub and making a cross-court pass to a guy like Will Riley. And I know one of the and ones that Riley got was because of a play that Johnson made where he got into the painted area and was able to swing it over that way and make a pretty tough pass. There were a lot of great things we saw about Trey Johnson through the first 2 summer league games. I'm not sure if he'll crack the starting lineup for this team right away because of CJ McCollum, but he is going to get his opportunities, and I think he will shine very early on. He's a kid that at just 18 years old was putting the Texas Longhorns on his back in the toughest conference of college basketball, and he looked really good as a defender as well. The one rap coming out of Texas was saying that his defensive tendencies were a little bit unknown, that he wasn't tasked with being a great defender. He took plays off like Will Dawkins showed him during his film. We didn't see any of that throughout the summer league, and I know that's his opportunity to showcase himself to the coaching staff, to the front office, and to the fan base, what he can do. But his mentality just seems like it's in the right place for me. We've heard everything that he has said to the media, and he consistently just says all of the right things. He says that they don't draft me to score the basketball. They draft me because I can play great defense. And we saw that. And obviously the Wizards did draft him because of how talented he is as a scorer, but that's a very diplomatic response there from Trey Johnson.
4 for 4, Ben. Man, we really are on fire right now. I have also Trey Johnson at 6, the pick number 6. I mean, Ben, I really can't say any better than what Ben just said. Went off as a freshman in Texas, was given so many responsibilities. Defenses were toning in on him. Ball taking to the rim, shoot it from 3, makes the right play at such a young age, with such high basketball IQ, and he just is all about hoops. We saw the pre-draft interviews. He really doesn't have any hobbies outside of playing basketball, and that's just how he is. He's ball is life. He really puts that into fruition, and I think a guy like him, I can't wait to see how he does his season, because look at the guys he's going up against when it comes to VJ Edgecombe, the touches that he'll get, because he'll have Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, Cooper Flag, Kyrie Irving's going to come back from injury, Anthony Davis, he's a scorer. So Trey Johnson has a legit shot at Rookie of the Year. Well, you will have to see how it pans out. But that first game, the Summer League game against the Phoenix Suns, throwing the ball off Kalamalawa's leg and hitting that layup, it's just so cold. And he just looks like a basketball player. And the name Trey Johnson just breeds basketball. So you put all that together, he's at number 6 for me.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said right there. Cold-blooded from the start. So to break it down for you before we take our first time out here on Locked On Wizards, the bottom 4 right now we have for this young core, and it's not bottom because they're bad basketball players. It's just bottom because that's where it stands right now. We put Will Riley at number 9, AJ Johnson at number 8, Tristan Vucevic at number 7, and then Trey Johnson, the 6th overall pick, at number 6. Who is in our top 5? Where do they fall on our list? We have that next year on Locked On Wizards. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Gametime comes in. Gametime makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 50%, 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. I was tired of scrolling endlessly to find concert tickets. The NBA YoungBoy will be at Capital One Arena October 1st, and that's why Gametime's Zone Deal picked the best seats in your section for you. With Gametime, the price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees there. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and show tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app and create an account and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Final 5.
NBA YoungBoy, Ben, huh? Sorry.
That's October 1st at Capital One Arena. So that's going to be my rare night in Capital One Arena this upcoming season where I'm not covering a Wizards game. I'll be in there bumping that young boy on that. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a great time. You just got me giddy thinking about it. Top 5, ranking the Wizards young core. Abdullah, number 5, start with you.
Okay, I think this is where we branch out and the streak is over.
Hopefully we can do something different. Like,
yeah, I know. This wasn't planned, guys. Like, we just did this like on our own. We didn't even confirm with each other. Number 5, I have Cam Whitmore.
Go on.
And then Cam Whitmore traded from Houston, 2 second-round picks in the same draft class as Bilal Coulibaly. I was a big fan of him coming out of the draft, and I had a legit thinking at pick 8 where the Wizards had Bilal. I was like, maybe you take Cam Whitmore there. And with the minutes given last season with Houston, I mean, there's so much talent on that team. He still had games where he balled out. I remember against the Lakers, he had 30-plus points. It was towards the end of the season, and you can say it how it is. But going out there and balling out at such a young age, just turned 21 years old, and he grew up in the DC sports area, grew up a Wizards fan. So athletic, 6'7". I think he can be a guy that can just come in the starting lineup and produce right away. So I can't wait to see how he does. And it's just so amazing because it comes full circle, because I wanted him back in 2023. And I kept telling myself, like, hey, Jonathan Kuminga, we might have to give up too much. But I don't know where Will Dawkins says, hey, we're going to bring Cam Whitmore back home. So I have Cam Whitmore at number 5.
All right. We finally have a difference here in the rankings. At number 5, I'm going Bub Carrington. And we saw so many flashes from Bub in year number 1 as a rookie, played in all 82 games, was on the All-NBA rookie second team. He has shown me tremendous ability as an off-ball guard at the 2 position, scoring the basketball. With that being said, this year, his role is very, very different. And through the first two Summer League games, I think we saw the flashes of what we saw a lot of him last year, his ability to get his shot off the basketball and also shot create for himself a little bit with that little step back shot that he does. But in terms of being a true point guard, is which this franchise needs him to be, he still is going to be a work in progress at that position for me. Getting himself to the free throw line, attacking to the basket, beating his man off the bounce, and getting to the rim and finishing there. That's a work in progress for Bub Carrington. But so far, he is a tremendous offensive player, a ton of upside there, and he can defend the hell out of the basketball on the perimeter as well. He slots in at number 5 for me.
And I agree with you. I think one thing that I just would had Cam at 5. A big reason why is because I just don't think we saw enough of him. Kind of similar to Tristan Vucevic in a way, where really, really good potential there, but just if it really wasn't shown that much. And seeing the reason why Bub is so high on this list for me is he played all 82 games as a rookie, broke a lot of records. That mid-range shot needs to be more aggressive, needs to get to the free throw line more, but he's only going to get better. And I'll keep emphasizing it. Your last game of your rookie, you're hitting a game winner floater off the glass for the win. I understand you're not a winning team, but you're still going out there balling out 110%. Bub Carrington is a dog. And moving on to my number 4, I have Keyshawn George, the guy out of Miami, the one that wasn't talked much about out of the big 3 out of the 2024 draft class. But, man, he got better from game 1 to game 82. Summer League, just 25 points the first game. The second game had 5 steals. Are you freaking kidding me? This dude is a defensive menace and offensively can shoot the shot from 3, mid-range, take it to the rim, can pass the ball as well. I mean, he is so versatile. I think Keyshawn George just embodies what Will Dawkins wants to build here in DC. Capital V, versatility, and big reason why he's number 4 for me. Flashes of last year of his 3-point shot, and I'll keep talking about it. He's a big reason why Corey Kispert's tenure in Washington is basically over, because you have a guy that can not only shoot it from 3, but can defend, is athletic, take it to the rim. One thing I want to see him do better, though, is not hesitate or not be so willing to just shoot threes for the whole game. Once you take it to the hole, use pump fakes. That's something that I think he'll definitely look to adapt. And I think he's going to be just fine in year 2. And who knows? You brought up the fact that he could be the best player out of the 3 of Sar, Bub, and Keyshawn, which is just an amazing problem to have because having so much talent. But Keyshawn George for me is at number 4, Ben.
All right, this is where we're getting really interesting here because this will be 2 straight where you and I differ here finally in this list. At number 4, I have the former number 2 overall pick in Alex Sar. And Alex Sar, a lot of positives to his game early on throughout his career, but offensively, still very much a work in progress. And I know he came on very strong toward the end of the season. I feel like he still lacks the certain mentality, the certain aggression that we'd like to see from him around the painted area that could make him a legit force here in the NBA. Right now, he has that rim protection game on lock. That is absolutely like you could slot him right now as the best rim protector on the team, one of the best in the league right now. If you could slot him in there as an elite rim protector night in, night out, even if his offensive game doesn't develop, you'd honestly be fine with that. But because he's a former number 2 overall pick, you'd like to see his offensive game develop even more. I think at times he lacks a little bit of coordination and just the ability to get downhill and get you a bucket. Because at 7 foot, like he can handle the basketball very well. So we'd like to see the ability from him to create his own shot by ripping through, get through the middle, and just put it on someone's head. I feel like at times he's a little bit passive and turns down a dunk opportunity and tries to float it up. The high percentage shots are the ones right there where your head is at the rim, Alex Sar, and I need to see that from you going forward. I'm going to put him at number 4. A lot of work to be done for Alex Sar offensively, but still a talented player nonetheless.
Yep, I agree with you. I think Alex Sar is very talented, but with my number 3, I'm going with Bub Carrington. Be more a product, man. I think, like I mentioned earlier, just a dog with a capital D. He was the guy that was part of the Denny Avdia trade. Well, Dawkins said, hey, Denny Avdia wasn't part of this regime. You're out. I'm drafting this guy. And Bub Carrington, who is a stud, it was going to be a stud, and from Pittsburgh, come right away. I mean, not only a 6'5" guard who can shoot it, the mid-range shot, but he can also pass the ball. And there was some games last year we had multiple 7+ rebounds a game. I mean, versatility, man. I'll keep talking about V. That's what the Wizards are trying to build here. Not only just the youth movement, but making sure that these young guys can do it all. And that's why I have him at 3.
At number 3, I have Cam Whitmore. And I know that's a little bit maybe polarizing in a way because we haven't seen him play in a Wizards uniform nonetheless. But this is a dude that really just did not benefit from the crowded situation in Houston, regarded as the steal of the draft 2 years ago. He is so unbelievably talented as a scorer. What is he going to look like defensively? Because I think I have a pretty good idea of what he's going to do offensively here. I think he's going to be a guy that easily averages 17 to 20 points per game. I think he's that kind of scorer. He is that talented. And we're going to see that early on from the get-go here in his Wizards career. Can they get him to buy in defensively? And I know that the word effort is what comes up all the time when playing defense, because we didn't see a lot of that from him in his time in Houston. Is that something that changes here in Washington with that potential alone and how good he is as a scorer? That's why I have him number 3 right now.
And I get that, Ben, but for me, a question is how many touches can he get? Because there's just so many mouths to feed on this Wizards team. You have Bilal Coulibaly, who wants that extension. He wants to prove to the Wizards organization, the whole NBA, why I deserve to get that contract extension. On top of that, Bob Carrington, year 2 guy. Alex Sarr wants to prove everyone wrong and saying, hey, I'm not a bust. So I agree with you, Kim. Whitmore is so talented, but it comes to the point where there's so many mouths to feed. So how does he find that? How does he maximize his role here in DC?
Totally get that. I feel like it'll be tough to see how they kind of manage the rotation with that. But overall, I think Whitmore's a guy that will get his touches because of how talented he is offensively. And I think that's why you bring him in here, albeit for pretty cheap, the 2 second-round picks that go to Houston. But I think the Wizards organization has a plan for him.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be just fine. I think he has found a legit home here in Washington. This is what he wanted. So should we finish out the top 2 before we go to break?
You know what? Let's save it for the other side of the break. We'll touch on the final 2 we have between Bilal and Keyshawn George, and then we'll also talk about Damian Lillard returning home to Rip City in Portland. And what does that mean? Hopefully that doesn't mean the Wizards do something a couple years from now, but I'm pretty sure everyone knows what I'm talking about. We'll hit that next here, Locked On Wizards. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. OpenPhone lets me manage business calls and texts from one singular app. The shared inbox feature is a game changer. You can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Final 2. Ranking the Wizards young core here on Locked On Wizard. Thanks for sticking with us. If you have already, comment down below your rankings, the top 9 guys. Where do you have everyone slotting in? We want to get everyone's input on how you feel we did and where do you differ from our list. Abdullah and I were pretty chalk through the first 4 here, but things got a bit interesting here in the top 5. Number 2 for me is Keyshawn George. Now, and I say that lightly because I think he very well could find himself in the running for number 1 after this season. I am so high on Keyshawn George as a 2-way player. He has shown so many ridiculous things to me as a player he can be. And what's the rap on Bilal Coulibaly? It's how good he is defensively. Do we see the upside from him offensively? Does he take a jump in year number 3? Keyshawn George, already one of the more polished offensive players on this Wizards team. He became the first player in franchise history to reach 100 threes. I think it took him 59 games to get to that mark. And he had a stretch where he had 31 games in a row with a 3-pointer. And the dude all around was just a monster as well defensively, and that continued on throughout the Summer League. He led the rookies in steals last year. And in the Summer League this year, had the ridiculous stat line, 5 steals in a game on a night where he had not his best shooting night, but an uncharacteristic one at that for Keyshawn George. He can score at all 3 levels, and he can guard 1 through 4 on the floor. He is so versatile in what he can do. You could really put him at the 2 through the 4, and he'll be just fine out there with Keyshawn George. I think he's a guy that's going to continue to get better at both offense and defense as the season gets on. We've seen a new bag from him as well as the season went on. He's a guy that developed his ability to score on the inside, take the ball off the bounce and create his own shot, that little step back 3. is something we've seen be butter for him. I've got so many great things to say about Keyshawn George. I think he's going to break out here even more in year number 2.
Yeah, I'm also high on Keyshawn George. I can't wait to see what he does in year 2. But for me, number 2 is the former number 2 overall pick, Alex Sarr. I get it. A lot of people are still, scrutinizing him for how he performed in last year's summer league game and how he started off this summer league. But man, that game against, I think it was the A block game against Brooklyn. I mean, bro, like that was just that flashes. I get it. It's summer league, but I won't keep reiterating it. If he played bad, all of his haters would have been like, "Oh, he sucks." But when the guy plays good, you discredit him. It just doesn't make any sense. But last year, from game 81 or game 1 of summer league to game 82, he just got better against Denver. Jordan Poole game winner, but he had 34 that game against Nikola Jokic, one of the greatest centers of all time. I get it. Offensively, he needs to develop that bag. He needs to be more aggressive. Get in the paint, put your body on someone's 7-foot frame. Needs to get at least 8 to 9 rebounds a game. I mean, you're the tallest dude on the court, but the rim protector, it's just he's crossing off a lot of boxes, and he has those traits to be a top 10 center in this league. 8 freaking blocks, breaking a summer league record. To me, is just insane. And I think a duo of him and Trey Johnson, pick and roll, pick and pop, him and Bub, Bilal and him, Keyshawn and him. There's just so much ways to unlock Alex Sarr, and that's why I'm so high on him. And I think he's just going to be just fine. I think the shooting wise, his splits have to get better, and I think they will get better. But if he can develop that 3-point shot and is able to get a better handle, take it to the rim, I mean, he's going to be really unguardable, and it's going to be exciting to see how he does. A lot of people forget this guy came from the Australian League. He didn't play college basketball here. It's quite the transition from going overseas to here. So give it some time. Alex Sarr, be patient. I'm excited for him year 2, and I think he's going to break out.
All right. Well, it's pretty obvious. We both have Bilal Coulibaly at number 1, who enters a pivotal year number 3. Does he make the jump to become an all-around fantastic two-way player? Not to say he's not talented offensively already, because he is. We've seen the flashes of that. Defensively, already one of the better perimeter defenders in the entire NBA. And that's exactly what the Wizards knew they were getting when they drafted him number 7 overall. He's a guy they traded up one spot to get back in the 2023 draft, the first draft pick of the Will Dawkins era here in Washington. So they are extremely high on a player like Bilal Coulibaly, and they want to make sure that he is certainly the guy they want to give money to stay here, because he will become extension eligible after the summer. And what does his deal look like is the question. I think that's all going to be dependent on what we see from him in year number 3 right here. And a little bit of a regression as an outside shooter last year, unfortunately, for Bilal Coulibaly. He went from just around 35% his rookie season to 2% under 30 in year number 2. But the other thing is we need to see him play a full season. He hasn't been able to finish out the entire season throughout his first 2 years. So we need to see him on the floor a little bit more, be a guy that can be out there for 70 to 75 nights throughout the regular season. Bub Carrington played in 82 games in the regular season. I'm not saying he's a guy that you necessarily would have to have him play 82 games throughout the season, but health generally I think would be a concern for me with Bilal Coulibaly. He only finished at 59 games last year, and I know part of it was the ethical tank. They kind of shut him down for the remainder of the year, but you'd like to see him get up to around 70 to 75 games played, if not even more, here in year number 3 before this front office has to make its first big decision on who they pay here.
And a big reason why I'm so high on him last year, I always talk about it. Less than 24 hours after trading Kyle Kuzma, Bilal gets his first career triple-double against the Brooklyn Nets. The flashes are there. Defensively, he's already there. I remember when he was a rookie, a young guy guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he stood his ground. Defensively, that high IQ, we just want to see the offensive bag. We want to see that jump shot be better. Want to see him become aggressive offensively. There are games where he takes, last year we saw where 2-3 shots, with another game he'll take 10 to 15. So be steady. You have to be consistent, and he's so explosive. I know I talk about AJ Johnson being athletic, but Bilal is so freaking athletic as well. And I think he has a legit shot of being the best player out of this young core. But we got to see that jump year 3 offensively. I have so much hope in you. I think this whole regime, Will Dawkins is first pick. They have so much stock in you, Bilal, and I think he's going to be better this year. I think availability is the best ability. He's going to prove that as well. So I can't wait.
I know he's been working hard this offseason. See the clips working on his ball handling, which is something you wanted to see, how he can create his own shot off the dribble, get to the rim a little bit better by just dribbling the basketball a little bit better, and then also working on that jump shot as well. So break it down right here, 1 through 9. Bilal for me, because Abdullah and I's lists are a little bit different. Number 1, Bilal Coulibaly. 2, Keyshawn George. 3, Cam Whitmore. 4, Alex Sarr. 5, Bub Carrington. 6, Trey Johnson. 7, Tristan Vucevic. 8, AJ Johnson. And number 9, Will Riley.
And for me, number 1, Bilal Coulibaly. Number 2, Alex Sarr. Number 3, Bub Carrington. 4, Keyshawn. 5, Cam Whitmore. 6, Trey Johnson. 7, Tristan Vucevic. 8, AJ Johnson. 9, Will Riley. Comment down below who had the better list. I know it's going to be me, but I want to see how many people think that.
All right, well, we're almost out of time, so we did tease this, so we'll pay it off here, Abdullah, because we are a good host. Damian Lillard back to Portland, 3 years, $42 million. I mean, wow.
Cue the music. I'm coming home, man. I was shocked. This is what I love to see. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get, but, man, a duo of Danny Avdija and Damian Lillard when he comes back, that's going to be interesting. And it brings up the question, in a couple of years when the Wizards are contending, do they consider bringing back number 3, Bradley Beal?
I hope not, honestly. I know
he's 100 points for breaking the record, Ben.
I know, but like if we're in the position where we have our established core and there wouldn't even really be like room for him unless he was a guy that would really play limited minutes, I just don't see it happening. I don't want it happening really anytime within the next 3 to 4 years. And I know that's, I don't know how long Beal's shelf life is going to be now that he's playing for the Clippers. I'm not sure how much longer he'll be part of the association, if he's going to be a guy that says he wants to come back and play for DC after his contract's up there 2 years from now. I don't know if it would make sense to bring him back 2 years from now. I wouldn't really entertain it at that point. I'd be thinking way further down the road because I don't want them to have any influx to what they have building right here.
Yeah, as much as it's funny to talk about, it's not a good idea. Stick with the young core. Bradley Beal's time here in Washington is over, and now it's crazy how he went from worst contract to like really good value in the Clippers with like 2 years, $11 million. I still don't think they're going to go far in the Western Conference, but hey, we wish luck to Bradley Beal, and I still think we won that trade with the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, we'll see how those pick swaps maybe come in handy if the Wizards are in a position where they can indeed use them, depending on what happens in Phoenix. But out of time for today already. We got to rank this entire Wizards young core. That was a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys have some good thoughts on our rankings. You guys can drop down in the comments below what you guys think and let us know. Did we get it right or were we off base? I mean, I feel like there's going to be a lot of mixed opinions from what we've seen right now. But, maybe we'll calculate the percentage and see what the consensus was from amongst the fans that do comment their picks. And then we could release to the public what the percentage was based on the polling we get here for the Wizards core. So that'll be fun to do. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. For your second, find the Locked On NBA podcast where there is no offseason. Doug, Matt, and Hayes keep you up to date on contract negotiations, rumors, and everything you need to be the most informed NBA fan. Find Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Stick with us next week. We'll be back here on Locked On Wizards for my co-host, Abdullah Ayubi. I'm Ben Strober. We sign off here. Go Wizards.